Are you successful at haggling? Being a Westerner, I'm used to having fixed prices when I go shopping. I'm used to those little white tags that you see on items. They're called price tags. So the idea of haggling for me is stressful. I usually find ways to avoid having to haggle. Haggling is to dispute or bargain persistently, especially over the cost of something. In some countries, haggling is kind of like a courting ritual. You kind of do this happy dance with the marketplace vendor. He quotes his price, you try to drop it. He quotes it again, raising the price, you proceed to try and drop it again. And somewhere in between this little medium, you try to find an agreeable price that both of you are happy with. Before you make any purchases is you kind of want to shop around, get a feeling of the market prices. I never take the first price that's offered to me. I like to shop around first and get a feeling of what that item is priced at in different stores. I can always use it as a bargaining tool because if I find a lower price at a different shop, but I happen to love the color of this item at this shop, I can always tell this vendor that I found it cheaper at his competitor's store. He might be more willing to offer me a discounted price. Know in advance how much you're willing to pay for something. I generally determine that by kind of sizing up the object and seeing how much I feel it's worth to me. For me, I love buying scarves when I travel. And the way I gauge the cost of a scarf is by using my favorite pashmina green scarf that I have purchased for $5 at a New York street fair. Now, these days, marketplace vendors actually expect tourists to negotiate at half the cost that they quoted. Usually that item is worth a lot less. Start your bidding lower than half. Also, what I like to do is I like to ask trusted locals how much that item or service is valued at for them. Generally, that gives me a much more informed idea of how much it's worth, and I'm not just guessing. When the vendor doesn't give me the price that I want in my second try, I bust out the local price. The moment you bust out that price, the vendor knows that you know. Be willing to walk away. If your price isn't met to some degree, you have to be willing to walk away. Think of it as a fake breakup. You have to be willing to walk away to let the vendor know that you're not truly interested in the item that much. Never express how much you truly want that item. Always make the vendor feel like, no matter what, you'd be willing to take it or leave it. Therefore, he'll realize that you probably walk down a couple of stalls and find the very same thing and purchase it at a cheaper price. In that case, some vendors are willing to call you back to offer you a discount. But you really have to be willing to walk away because sometimes that vendor will let you.
Sellers love when shoppers buy more than one item, so this is the perfect time to negotiate a bargain. For example, if I see my green pashmina scarf going for $4, I might try to get 3 for $9 or $10. Watch other travelers who are more familiar with haggling. Notice these Indian men here are quick to point out a flaw in the product so they can negotiate a lower price.
This is the sound that a lot of vendors expect tourists to naturally make. I use the sound of this. This is the sound of a budget traveler. I like to prepare in advance my little coin purse filled with coins that I collect. I like to size up how much I feel that item is worth to me and how much I'd be willing to pay. I'll go around the corner and I'll create my little change purse. I'll put how much I'm willing to pay along with a lot of loose change. Then I'll tell the vendor to wait while I count how much money I actually have with me. I'll proceed to count how much I have. This is all I have. At that point, the vendor can either yay or nay this sale. Now, as a tourist, you just kind of have to assume that no matter what price you pay, you're going to probably be paying a little bit more than the average local. That's just part of the experience of traveling. However, the consolation is that you actually get to purchase that item within the country and have a story around it. No need to beat a vendor down for their prices. They have a family, they need to support, their living and their lifestyle too, and sometimes in some countries $1 or even a few cents can make a big difference. Try to utilize a little bit of compassion and friendly fun when you haggle. If you have any tips that you'd like to share about what you found successful in your haggling experiences, then please leave them down in the comment section below. Give me a thumbs up or like, subscribe to my channel, and until then, happy haggling!